All right, let's look at the exponential rule for integral and the general exponential rule for integral. All right, so since we know derivative a little bit better, remember that if you take the derivative of e to the x, then we get exactly the same thing, right? So this is our favorite function. Alright, so antiderivative is basically the reverse process of the differentiation. So you're just going to go backward, but there's no change. So antiderivative e to the x is going to be e to the x again, and plus some constant c. Right? Alright, so we can combine this with the chain rule a little bit here. Alright, so remember that if you have e to the some function, say g of x, let's say we want to take the derivative of this guy, right? So this is a composition of exponential function and g of x, right? So g of x is the inside function and exponential function is the outside function. So if you take the derivative of that, derivative of outside function is exactly the same thing. So we copy exactly the same thing, e to the g of x, but you would have to multiply by derivative of the inside function, which is g prime of x. Right? So if you want to go backward, if you take the antiderivative of e to the g of x times g prime of x, you're going to get e to the g of x back. So you have e to the g of x plus some constant c because it's an indefinite integral. All right, so let's look at the couple of examples of these. All right, so here, if you want to integrate this, all right, so here, all right, first, 3 just a constant multiple, so I'm just going to leave it there. And antiderivative of e to the x is going to be, again, exactly the same thing, e to the x. All right, then you have a minus 2x, so it's going to be negative. We know that antiderivative of 2x is x squared, so I'm going to have x squared, and plus constant c. All right, that's that. All right, what if you have something like this, e to the 3x plus 1? All right, so what we want to do is you can think of this as this guy as g of x. All right, so remember g prime of x in this case is going to be just 3. So we can rewrite it this way. So you have here integral, right, e to the 3x plus 1 times g prime of x is 3, but unfortunately we didn't have 3 to begin with. So what we can do is we can multiply by 3 and then divide by 3. That way we don't change anything, right? And dx, right? So this way, if it's exactly the format, right? So we have, this is g of x, and right here is g prime of x, right? So therefore, using the general exponential rule, so one third is sitting in front, right? Then this part, antiderivative, is simply e to the 3x plus 1, and then you have plus some constant c, since it's an indefinite integral. All right, that's it. I hope that this was clear.